all you reinventors. This is Lesley Jane Seymour, and I'm the founder of CoveyClub and of this podcast. And I am super excited to introduce you today to somebody who's going to blow your mind at what she does for reinventions. She's reinvented herself more than once and in dramatic ways. And I mean, you just have to listen to her because I can't really explain it. She is now, so let me tell you about her. Dana King is enjoying her encore career as a public artist who sculpts Black bodies in bronze. She began sculpting at the end of a 25-year run as an award-winning broadcast journalist. What she did before that is she was behind the camera selling broadcast stuff. And it was a boss of hers who told her to go in the front. And she's just amazing. So she went back to art school to obtain her master's while she was still a broadcast journalist. She said she was 52 at the time and knew she didn't want to grow old on TV, only to be told that she needed to get a little nip and tuck. And along the way to figuring out how to transition into an art career, she was fired after devoting 25 years as a broadcast journalism for not dyeing her gray hair. So, and wait till you see, for those of you who can see the video, wait till you see this hair, this incredible hair. So anyway, I'm going to turn you over to the wonderful Dana King. Please enjoy. So Dana, I am so excited to have you on the podcast. You have no idea. I love your story. I love your resilience. And I love the fact that you reinvented yourself out of broadcasting into art. And these commissions you are getting are so extraordinary. So for our audience who doesn't know you yet, I've had the pleasure of reading your background. Let's just start a little bit of, your history. Where did you grow up? How did you end up in broadcast? What was your thinking?
This may take the whole half hour.
No. We have to make it short. We only have a half an hour. Okay.
Yeah, be brief. I was born in Ohio to parents. My father was an African-American from the South. My mother, a Jewish woman from Ohio. And they secretly married in the 50s. And their love is what propels me. I figure if they could do that back then, I can do anything, right?
Yes, right.
And then my dad died when I was 1.5. My brother was 3, and so
my
mom, raised us all by herself in the 60s. And I just think that's a type of bravery that you don't even recognize until you're through it because it's daily. And so we moved every 7 years. That was the length of their marriage. So my mom would move us. She just had this itch at 7 years. So I was born in Ohio. I lived in Indiana. And then we ultimately ended up in Michigan in a small town called Big Rapids. And I went to high school there, went to college there. And after I graduated, the following week I was in my Volkswagen. This is such a typical kind of characteristic. It's just it's silly. Packed my Volkswagen, put a sign on the window that said California or bust, put a big under my seat.
I love it.
California. And I didn't have a job and I didn't know anybody. And I got an apartment. I figured if I'm moving all that way, I'm going to live on the ocean. I lived in Venice Beach, right on the Strand, and I just loved it. I mean, I'm a Midwestern woman and grew up there, and have those values instilled in me, and I just went whole hog on moving to California. I started my career. I have a degree in marketing.
Oh, marketing. Okay, that makes sense.
I realized that the only way to establish myself was through sales. And so I got in on the ground floor of cable at the time. I was wired for cable when I started. Sold it door to door.
Door-to-door
I didn't
cable.
sell a lot of it because people were like, wait, you want me to pay for television?
Right, I know. Oh my God. And now we're like, just bring the bill
200.
down and I'll pay. Yeah. Okay.
So then I got assigned to the first sales team, ad sales, and sold airtime for cable. We had no numbers, we had nothing. It was all a conceptual sell. And then I moved over to broadcasting sales and worked at the NBC station, and then got hired by the ABC station and loved it because I wanted to run a TV station. I wanted to be the general manager. But I had a general manager at KABC who liked to move his people around. His name was John Severino. And one day he fired the only Black on-air reporter. And then he panicked. And his secretary, a woman named Berla Rammel, said, well, why don't you just hire Dana? So he called me into his office, and I thought I was in trouble. And he told me he wanted me to be a reporter. And I said, where?
What?
Yeah, exactly.
What?
And we went around, and I said, no, I don't want to do it. I want your job.
Right.
Ultimately.
I want to run it.
And he said, well, I want you to be a reporter. And I said, oh, big signal, big flag. And I said, okay, I'll do it, but let's set a time limit on it, because if I don't like it, I don't want to do it, and I want my job back. And if you don't like doing it, then I want my job back. And,
right.
And I ended up 25 years later retiring from broadcast television. But
that's amazing.
Terrible. Lesley, I was terrible.
You were terrible for 25 years? I don't believe it for 2 seconds. When you started. Okay. All right. Well, we all had those moments.
But and I was roundly hated, and understandably so, because I worked with people who worked their entire careers.
Oh, I see. You were an interloper. Okay.
Exactly. And so my job, I thought, was to earn their respect and to do it quickly. Because when you screw up on TV in LA,
everybody knows about it. Yeah.
Everybody knows about it, and they tell you about it. So I loved my job until I didn't love it anymore. And I never wanted to grow old on television.
Yeah.
I didn't want some man telling me, Dana, you need to pull this up or tighten this or lose weight or grow your hair, cut your hair, whatever. And I say I didn't want some man telling me that because I never worked for a woman.
There were no women in senior positions at all.
Not for 25 years.
The women can be as brutal. They can be as brutal, if not more, just so you know.
That's true.
I worked with women my whole life, and they were some of the most devious, horrible bosses ever. Just because they're female doesn't mean that they're any better. But yes, you would hope that there would be some kind of understanding there.
You would. But I decided to go back to school to get my MFA when I was 48. And
bravo, girlfriend.
And I had been painting, and because I had the type of job that allowed me to travel the world. I was in Afghanistan and Iraq and Kurdistan and the Middle East and Rwanda. And it was such a great career. And I started to paint during that time. I was actually in, where was I? Kosovo. And I realized that I didn't see women anywhere. And when I found them, if you will, air quotes, they were out in the fields. They were literal workhorses, pulling plows, pushing plows, carrying hay up steep mountain roads. And it made me angry because the men were in the cafes, and they were out in the markets, and they were everywhere. And
wow.
Nowhere. So I came home and I started to paint. I didn't want to write about it. I just needed to get it out in a way that I didn't have to talk about it. And so I have a whole series of Muslim women, and that series was what I used to get into graduate school. So
had you been any kind of artist before in your life? Like, were you like the kid with the, the pictures that got put into the exposition for 6th grade?
No, but my mom kept all my pictures.
No, but other than your mom, there was no recognition of your artistic talent before that.
No.
Unbelievable. And you just did it because you like it. You didn't have any formal training, nothing.
Not really, no.
That's unbelievable.
Until I went for my MFA, and I went to learn to paint like the old masters. I wanted to learn about chiaroscuro, black and white, and then glazing, and wasn't great at it, but I really enjoyed it, and it was hard. And then I took a weekend course with a master sculptor named Philippe Farreau. A friend invited me, and it was in Sacramento, so we had to drive there from the Bay. And I didn't really think anything of it. I just went because I thought it would be fun, and she needed somebody to ride with her. And that was it. I couldn't even finish the whole weekend, Lesley. I drove back on Sunday to tell this man that I couldn't stay, that my head was full. I had no more room for any more information. I just needed to go and do the work.
Wow.
And I've been doing it ever since.
Unbelievable. And talk about the various things that you have done. You were just telling me in May you've got a big commission from Columbia University.
Yes, I get the opportunity to create a bust of Ida B. Wells, who was an amazingly courageous woman who wrote about and basically was the first person to keep track of lynchings in this country. And because of her work, we know about these things in great detail. Behind me is a sculpture that was commissioned by the San Francisco Giants to create a sculpture of the very first woman to play professional baseball. Her name is Stone, and Tony played in the Negro Leagues. And at the end of 2020, Major League Baseball finally realized that, yes, the Negro Leagues were Major League Baseball, and they absorbed all of their records, and now it's official that she...
Wow, really?
Yeah, and she was a badass. The men hated her. They didn't want to play with her.
But they knew she was female. She wasn't impersonating a male.
No. Married to a man, and she never had children. But when she was off the field, she would dress in, matching shoes and handbag and hats and gloves. And she was all lady off the field, but on the field, she was a terror. And she played for some great Negro League teams, the Indianapolis Clowns. She played for the New Orleans Creoles. She played for the Kansas City Monarchs. She played in a game against Satchel Paige. She took over at second base for Hank Aaron when he went to Milwaukee to play. So she was the real deal.
Wow.
So yeah, I've been blessed with incredible commissions. I have a mission. I only create Black bodies in bronze. I only tell the story of African descendants and their role here in America, so that information can be somehow included in the canon of history, American history, but also for children, Black children, to see that they have been a part of America all along.
Yes, they have. No matter how many people try to deny this.
Right. And I live
in Florida, man.
So
yeah.
So that's happening in this state. So that's my mission, and I've been blessed with amazing commissions, and I will do this as long as my hands hold out. Right.
That's amazing. Two questions. Why bronze?
Mm.
And then I want to talk about starting all over and being shitty at something. So, because I think that's a barrier for a lot of people who want to start all over. And you
Yeah.
certainly accept that you're going to be crappy at it at the beginning. And a lot of people, that's what keeps them moving. But just tell me quickly so we can finish up the art discussion. Why bronze in particular?
Bronze is an amazing material and it lasts forever. So that means that the story that you're telling in bronze also lasts forever.
Right. That's what I was wondering.
Told and retold generation after generation. It's a beautiful material that lends life to the work in a way that my hands can't. And I love the material, and it lives in nature. It's a living material. The sun turns it different colors, the water, the rain. When it's warm, when you touch the piece, it's also warm to the touch. So I love bronze, and it lends an honor to the individual that is being created in a way that other materials don't. So that's why I love bronze.
So talk about being crappy at something when you start over, and you really started over. So how did that feel, and how did you get through that fear of failure? Because you must have said to yourself when you switched over to be as you said, on air from off air, I suck at this. Maybe I shouldn't do this. Is this going to jeopardize where I'm heading? How did you know to hang in there? How did you know? Was it other people telling you were great? How did you learn? Did you apprentice with somebody? And then talk about the art thing too. Or you just muddled through? Did you just muddle through?
Just muddled through. I mean, when I started in broadcasting, I sucked, and I grew to be an award-winning journalist. So I saw a transition, a track. It took 10 years.
10 years. Okay.
I was comfortable being a reporter out in the field. So I knew going in that I was going to suck and it was going to take time, and I wasn't in a hurry. I was fired from my job.
Weren't we all? If you weren't fired, as Anna Wintour used to say, if you haven't been fired from a job, then you really haven't had a job,
Right. You haven't worked hard enough.
Right.
So, they had to pay me. They paid me for a while. So it allowed me a period of time where I didn't have to worry about money. So I'm very grateful for that. And
did you find mentors? What I did as a writer, I don't know if you could do this as a journalist, an on-air journalist, but I remember knowing that I needed a lot to learn when I started out writing at newspapers and magazines. And I would pick people to kind of imitate. Yeah. I would find somebody who I admired, and I would study how do they open a story? And then I would kind of try that myself. And, some of it worked, some of it didn't work. How did you figure out how to make was it just literally did you copy anybody? Did you have mentors? Did you read books?
Mentor.
Okay.
I read a catalog of books about broadcasting.
Okay.
And everyone I worked with was great. The crews that I worked in the field with were my biggest. They molded me because they worked with everybody.
So they educated you.
Right. They knew who worked hard and who didn't, who, slacked off. And they taught me how to do this.
If you're open. Yeah. I have people like that.
And when you look at the structure of a news piece, let's say it's a minute 30. You got 2 sound bites for 20 or 20 seconds each, right? There's 40 seconds of it. You don't have much time left. And then you spend that time for beginning, middle, and end of the story. Boom, you're done.
Right.
So when you analyze the structure, it helps a lot. For art, I have favorite sculptors. the thing about sculpture for me was that when I painted, I tried to make it look 3D because I was a figurative painter as well. But when you're working in 3D, it's real. It's right in front of you. It's like, well, my head isn't oblong. It's it's oval, and you find yourself looking in the mirror at your ears, and looking up at your nose, and and looking at the structure of your body. And I was an athlete as an adult. I was a rower, and so I learned a lot about the body. And then when I went to school, I learned the names of all the parts of the body and how they were connected and things like that. And so I was able to put that all together. I am definitely a lover of the human body. And so it's been trial and error. I don't rely on people telling me, oh, that's really good, because what is that about? What's the motivation for telling me that? And so I try the thing to be an artist is to see. Mm-hmm. What do you see? And can you duplicate what you see? Whether you're nearsighted or farsighted, like some great artists were, that what they saw was a film over their eyes, and that's how they painted, or
yeah, that was a revelation. I remember what was it? Was Monet and Giverny, when they showed you that his eyes were going?
Yeah, beautiful work. But
that's what he saw. It wasn't that he was doing some funky thing. It's that his eyes were going.
Right.
He saw stuff all blurred.
Yeah.
So like, wow.
Is to see. What do you see?
Yeah. Yeah.
And how does it translate in your work? And my boyfriend is an incredible artist, and I value his opinion. He's really hard on me. So sometimes I'm like, okay, enough.
Get out of here. Uh-huh.
I'm not even working on that part. Don't even look at it.
Uh-huh.
So I value his opinion. He's a mentor. He's a coach. He's and he has my best interest at heart, and I know that. And he sees very well with his vision of art. So he's made me a better sculptor. And he helps me by creating my graphic pitches that I have when I submit for a commission and a competition. So he's been incredibly helpful. But I have a lot of books, and they guide me. And again, I have a body, so I look at how my arm falls, or how my hands look when I'm creating someone's hands, and it just I am often my own model, be it a sculpture of a woman or a man. It's just to guide me to that the silhouette of what it is I'm doing. So, but yeah. Starting over, when I talk to young people, I like to talk to young people. I remind them that, like, at whatever stage they are, if it's for graduation, college graduation, or high school graduation, that when you started out as a freshman, you were a low person on the totem pole, right? You were the dirt under everybody's shoes, and now you're the big person on campus. Well, guess what? Your next level, wherever you jump into, whether it's to college or whether it's out into the career world, you're going to be dirt on the bottom of people's shoes again. And the next phase is going to take you even longer to succeed, but you can. So I don't know. People who know me would say that I'm not necessarily a patient person at some points in my life, but for this, I am. Because it's clay. I'm working with clay, and if it comes out and it's not right, I just fix it. It's not like painting. Painting was very frustrating for me. Like, if you stopped, and I painted in oils, if you stopped, you had to match the color again, and the sheen, and the lighting has to be the same. No, sculpture, it's just the clay.
That's so interesting.
And I love that. I love the smell of the clay when I open up a bag. It's just like earth in my
Mm-hmm.
life. It's so rewarding to me.
So you didn't have, did you have serious doubt? Was there, I mean, were you struggling with doubt at all? Or you just, that's your personality, you can just throw it away? Because I know people who are in the middle of these transitions, they're trying to transition into something they really love. Um, and they're struggling to make money. They're struggling with, should I be doing this? It's not going my way. How long do I hang in there? Do I turn around? There's a lot of, fear and practicality too,
Right.
if they have to support themselves.
You know, I did when the money started when it got close to being the end of my money trail, I thought, oh, I'm not going to have to go work, am I? But I would, because that's what we do. If I needed to go work at Starbucks and make coffee, I would.
Okay.
Because it would give me time to do the work that I needed to do. I'm never afraid of working, and I don't need a job with a title so that I can, no, I don't care. But I know that the process will go through valleys and great heights. I know that. And even when I finish a piece, I have to love my work before I send it out in the world. And I know that when I'm done, I got to start all over at the bottom again. I got, that transition from the bottom of people's shoes to the height of the mountaintop. Every sculpture is that for me. Every sculpture when I start is terrifying. Like, oh, I hope this comes through. I hope this works. But I just have to work on it until it hits that point where it does come through. And I also have a faith practice. I know that I'm not doing this alone, and I know that I was not given this gift at the age of 50 to squander. And I know that God is not going to drop me on my head and leave me there, wallowing in failure and self-doubt. If I'm at a point where I'm having difficulty, and I do think that this job, if you will, being a sculptor, I'm like a MacGyver. I'm like, I have to figure out problems, and I'm a problem solver, and I do like that a lot. But I also know that if I'm really stuck and I mean, from my first public art piece, which I didn't know what I was doing, I went to Home Depot and I didn't even know how to build an armature, the internal skeleton. So I went and bought piping, that big, thick, black plastic piping. I made his body out of pipes and poured concrete into him to hold him up. And then I did the outside with clay. I mean, I had and then when the mold was done of him, he just fell over and was all mushy and it was a mess. So I know that I'm going to learn a lot each and every sculpture that I create. And I just have to be patient with that. And I know that, I know God's with me, and he's not going to leave me hanging. He's not, because he gave me this gift. So
amazing. Can you talk just very quickly, because we only have a few minutes left, about white hair on TV?
Do you ever see it on women? No.
Yeah.
You see it on men.
Yeah. Right.
But you don't see it on women. I had really short hair when I was a broadcaster, and because I'm super lazy and don't want to mess with it. It was about 1.5 inches long.
Oh my
hair. So I told my boss I was going to stop dyeing it, and he said, I don't think so. And so I went and I dyed it one more time. And when I took the towel off my head, I looked in the mirror and I said, that's it. I'm not doing this again. I'm not going to deny my humanity. And I'm not going to deny the humanity of millions of women who are forced to do this. And so I stopped dyeing it. And people thought I was sick at first. They were like, I would get letters like, you.
Oh, interesting.
Because it came in like a leopard pattern. It was really, And then it grew in like completely because it was short. So it took about a month and it was fully grown in. And why am I telling the story?
No, I just wanted to know that didn't they, you said to me, I think, that they push you out because of the gray hair?
Yeah. I signed an NDA, but I don't really care.
Okay.
But yeah, so I got called into the office and my co-anchor, a very wonderful man, had gray hair, was thinning and the whole thing. And my boss said, Dana, your hair's a distraction because your skin is so dark and your hair is so white. And I was like, ooh, that's a lawsuit right there. Boom.
That's like a double lawsuit, isn't it?
Keep talking. I am all ears. So I got out of that meeting. And at the end, I told him, listen, you do what you need to do. I'm going to do what I need to do. Make me an offer. And
that was it.
You get one pass at me. And that was it.
Well, good for you, girlfriend.
And then I decided, well, I'll just see what
your hair is extraordinary. I mean, you're like a hair commercial. That's the amazing thing. I look at you and I'm like, okay, what hair product is she selling? So
I had no idea I had this. I had no idea I had the talent for sculpting, which is the point in what it is that you do, helping women understand that what you think who you are, you are not even touching on what your potential is. At 50, at 60, at 70, I just saw something across my feed on Instagram. A 90-year-old woman went back to become a barber. Man, she's cutting the flyest, dopest hair.
That's great. I have not seen that one. That's
she
great.
gets on a horse and rides to her little salon every day. She's 90.
I love it.
So yeah, don't limit yourself. Take different courses. I've taken welding courses. You don't know what's going to stick. I didn't know that sculpture was going to stick. I had no idea that I had this gift. None.
So as we get to close, because we're over time, but just really quickly, 3 fast tips for women who want to make a big change like you might be, like you have done. Inspirational pointers that they may not have gotten from their friends who've not done it. What would you say?
Listen to yourself. Don't listen to your friends. Don't listen to your spouse. Don't listen to anybody else. Listen to yourself. Don't even tell people what you're thinking of doing because now you're obligated, right? Have the conversation with yourself and you know what it is that you want for your life. You may not have drilled down into the exact what that looks like, but it will come. Sit with it. Breathe it in, breathe it out. Just sit with things that excite you, things that make you happy, things that you think the world needs, things that you want to do for the rest of your life, right? And don't share it with people until you're ready to, until you can say, this is what I've been doing. And they drop to their knees, right? Like, what?
What? Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
And even then, don't worry about what people say. Really, if you love what it is you are creating, and it could be art, it could be music, it could be words, it could be anything. Whatever it is that is coming from you as a creation. If you love it, it doesn't matter who else loves it. It doesn't matter. I don't sell my work. There's a gallery that represents me. There's an amazing book called Artwork that really taught me how to pursue a gallery, taught me how to write a contract, taught me everything about the business of art, because there is a business side to it.
Right.
But I don't participate in that unless I really, really have to. And public art allows me to create the kind of work I want. And I work with municipalities and foundations and things like that. And, they already have the contract, so I'm good. And so that's what I recommend, man. Don't tell anybody. Don't ask anybody for guidance. Just listen to yourself. Trust yourself. Trust that what is inside of you wants to come out. If you're even thinking about it, it's there and it wants to come out.
And if the financials are not there for your thing that you're doing, then you would have a separate job or whatever, as you said, to support what you're doing.
Absolutely. And a job that doesn't require my intelligence.
Right. Just something to pay the bills.
Yeah, that will allow me to think about what it is I want to create while I'm making the coffee or whatever. Right.
Okay. So 2-track. It might be a 2-track, so you can do what you feel you need to do and want to do.
Right. And sell your stuff. I mean, how much stuff do we all have? But there's so many avenues to sell things nowadays: clothing, jewelry, furniture. Sell it. Right. And start over. I'm a firm believer in that scene in Stella, how Stella got her groove back after she burns her husband's car because he's been cheating on her. She has this long, luxurious hair, and she cuts it all off. And that's her outward facing. I'm starting over. My outward facing, I'm starting over. Before I left broadcasting, is I had tattooed. I know this is all on my feet, literally. This a saying by the Sufi poet Rumi: wherever you stand, be the soul of that place. And whenever I went to work or I went out and I looked down at my feet, that was my reminder that I am in charge of my soul. Well, God is in charge of my soul, but I'm working with him. But it's my responsibility to nurture it and take care of it.
Awesome.
And that was my outward sign. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to make money. There's a lot of ways to end and start over. But it begins when you have that feeling that there's something else you want to do. It's there. Then it's on.
Awesome. Wonderful. Incredible. Dana, thank you so much. You're such an inspiration. I just can't even believe it. And so wonderful to speak with you. Thank you so much. Where can everybody find your sculptures? Are you online? Do you have an Instagram?
I have an Instagram. Just Dana King Art 36. I don't know what it is. Just put in my name, Dana King, and you'll find me.
Okay.
And I have a website, Dana King Art. Super creative name.
Okay. Good enough.
Thank you, Lesley. You're awesome.
Thank you.
I appreciate your mission to help women to be who they are meant to be.
Yep. That's the goal. Thank you. So I hope all of you enjoyed this conversation with Dana. She is really an incredible inspiration. I'm going to bring her to the stage at some point for some event that we do with Covey. So get on our newsletter and stay tuned, because she's just so inspirational. If you enjoyed this, I hope you'll mosey on over to CoveyClub.com and check out all the fabulous stuff we have for you if you're trying to reinvent. And it could just be a rethink. It could be a reimagining. It could be a big reinvention, but it could be small. Maybe it's just changing your hair, like what Dana did, where she said she used to cut her hair all the time and then she stopped and she grew it out, and look how amazing she looks. So reinvention can be a rethinking, a reimagining, a refocusing, taking stock. It doesn't have to be dump out my whole life and start all over again. Or it could be. That's the wonderful thing. We use the word reinvention just because it's easy to understand, but put an RE in front of anything that you're trying to do. And that's what Covey Club is all about. And CoveyClub.com is free. You can pick up all kinds of cheat sheets and articles and essays to inspire you. And then if you really want to get serious about it, you shouldn't do this alone. It's very hard. And that's why I created Covey Club, is so that we could do this together. Let me tell you, when I was reinventing, that was really tough, to be all alone at my dinner table trying to come up with what Covey Club should be. I don't want to do that again. I don't want you to do that. So come on over, check us out, and actually join the club. And you're going to find women like us who are helping each other, and like Dana, who want to help each other get through that phase. We all are undergoing various reinventions, and we need the help of our friends. And what's great about CoveyClub is we introduce you to new women from different sectors of work that you may never have met. And it's for friendship and business. The CoveyClub women do all kinds of business together. They become friends. They help each other's kids. They share dog breeders. There's all kinds of stuff that goes on behind the scenes. So anyway, check us out at CoveyClub, and we'll see you next time. Also, follow the podcast. And if you enjoyed it, please give us a nice 5 stars and a good review. Thank you.